Hey guys, and welcome to my second official Q&A. Last week I asked you to send me all of your questions on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, and in this video I want to try my best to answer them. Game Whisperer 23 said, awesome looking laptop with great blue light. I'm inspired to model my own laptop now. Obviously, you may have noticed I got a new laptop. This is the Alienware 15R3. It's pretty specced out. Obviously, I'm going to use it for filmmaking and visual effects. I'm actually treating this more as a workstation replacement rather than a laptop per se. But because I feel there's quite a bit of thought that went into why I chose this particular model with the specific specifications that I did go with in the end, I do want to make a separate video on that and really go into detail on why I chose the components and this particular laptop for what I want to do with it. But again, probably a topic for another video. Madvendra Rathod wants to know, as a beginner, which free software should I use? That is actually really easy to answer. If you're just getting started with filmmaking or visual effects, go get yourself HitFilm Express. Right now, I think there's hardly a better alternative. It's fully free, it's got lots of free effects. It allows you to edit your film projects together and create really cool visual effects. And I've actually just released a brand new full beginner guide for HitFilm Express 2017. It's about an hour long, but it covers all of the basics. I'm going to put a link for that down into the description of the video. If you're looking to get into 3D modeling, animating, rigging, creating physics simulations for fluids or destruction, you can't really go past Blender. Blender is a really powerful 3D software package. It's entirely free and open source. And again, I've started creating a beginner tutorial series for Blender that I'm going to link down below. But I personally just really enjoy using it. It's really powerful and it's entirely free. So HitFilm Express for video editing and visual effects and Blender for working with 3D are the two software pieces that I would recommend to any beginner. The Geek Knows asks, which is your favorite YouTuber? My two favorite YouTubers are Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon. For one, I really respect their art. I think they're really good filmmakers, they're really good storytellers, and turning their vlogs into mini movies where you've got a really nice story arc from beginning to end, and that's what makes them so fun and entertaining to watch. I also really like their positive attitude, which I feel I'm trying to have as well in general, but I also really appreciate their work ethic. They're really hard workers, they're really good at the hustle, and that's why they've gotten so popular on YouTube in the first place. Dank Dreams wants to know, do you have any websites you recommend to learn about visual effects? Now, obviously I'd be a little silly if I didn't plug my own website, surfacestudio.com. I have a lot of written versions of my YouTube tutorials on there, a lot of additional materials and a bit of behind the scenes stuff. Go check that out. However, if you're feeling adventurous, go and check out the videocopilot.net website. They've got very advanced, highly in-depth tutorial for Adobe After Effects and creating some really impressive visual effects. I love Andrew Kramer's teaching style. He's got kind of a similar humor to me, or at least I feel like I can relate to it, because we're both a little bit on the lame side, but they're really enjoyable. It's great content. They are difficult. If you're new to After Effects, probably not really easy to get into. I kind of marched my way through it, and videocopilot.net is actually how I learned most of what I know, so highly recommend you go check them out as well. Oscar Gonzalez asks, books you would recommend for learning After Effects? Now, I don't know whether I'd really recommend any books for learning Adobe After Effects. There are a few about visual effects in general and more principles that can be quite useful for inspiration and just some general techniques like the VES handbooks of visual effects. Again, I'm going to link that down below. But personally, learning Adobe After Effects from a book is kind of like learning cooking from a cooking book. Yes, you'll find, inspiration and ideas in it, but until you actually do it, sit down and practice it, you're not really gonna learn. So I much more recommend just start something in Adobe After Effects, go through some beginner tutorials on my website or anywhere else on the web, and just start creating some visual effects. The first few are likely gonna turn out horrible, and those are the ones that you don't upload to the internet. Like, I've done lots of experimentations that nobody's ever gonna see, quite frankly. But as you practice the art and as you go through the motions over and over, become more familiar with the tool, you'll start creating more and more cool looking things, and that is then the stuff that you share online. Gisle Hillesund asks, which university in Australia would you say is the best within filmmaking? Now, I don't believe I'm qualified to answer that question, simply because I didn't actually go to film school. I didn't go to university either to study multimedia or anything arts related at all. I've got an IT degree in software engineering, so I don't really know any schools that are renowned to be the film school or great for filmmaking. I'd much rather think do you really need to go to a film school? Like, what are you trying to get out of it? Where do you want to go with it? And then figure out which university offers a degree that is most aligned to that goal you're trying to get to. Like, if you want to work in a visual effects studio in America, does an Australian filmmaking school really get you there? Or would you be better building an online portfolio, or trying to directly contact those companies to figure out whether they've got internships or any other way that you can get your foot in the door? Now, I'm not saying don't do a filmmaking degree or a filmmaking course or go to a filmmaking school, but figure out whether that is the right course first. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm probably not the best person to recommend an actual school because I've not been to any and I haven't heard of many, so I can't really recommend. Sorry. Ken the King asks, is YouTube your only job? No, it's not. It's not even my main job. As I said, I've actually got a degree in software engineering, so I work in the IT industry, and I've got a full-time job working in IT. YouTube, Surface Studio, all of that side business is actually just something I do in my free time next to my full-time job and the family. So yeah, no, YouTube is not my full-time job. VR Game Zone wants to know, do you plan to do more Houdini tutorials? In the long run, yes. In the short term, probably not. And the reason for that is that Houdini is extremely complex, it's very specialized, and while I do find that my tutorials seem to end up helping people, I find that they're only helping a very small group. A lot of people that are watching me for filmmaking, visual effects, general tips on how to get cool stuff on camera don't really benefit from that. And ever since I've discovered Blender especially, which is absolutely free and it's massively powerful, I'm kind of starting to dig a bit more into that and expand into that area just to give people a bit of an easier step into the world of 3D. And then I think once I've built up a catalog of Blender tutorials and basic 3D concepts, then you can add the complexity and the power of Houdini on top of that. So Houdini tutorials are still on my list of stuff to do, but probably a little bit further away. Tees Van Schalk wants to know, what can a 15-year-old who loves video editing and filmmaking in general do with his interest? Well, Tees, the first question is, what do you want to do? Do you want to pursue a filmmaking career? Do you want to work in one of the big filmmaking studios? Or maybe you just want to make online YouTube videos? There's nothing wrong with either one. There's a huge amount of opportunities and possibilities. You could become a freelancer or just do it for fun on the side. You can build businesses around it, like producing training material and selling it online, or anything you really want. In the first instance, what I would probably do is just start creating some hobby projects, some short film projects or some online videos, just to experiment and feel your way through it and figure out which part of filmmaking or editing you like specifically. Because some people like the editing process, some people like audio, some people like the visual effects, some people like the whole thing, some people like directing, some people like writing the scripts. So figure out what you actually like about it, and then it'll become clearer over time as well where that whole thing is gonna go. GSNZ asks, how good do you consider yourself as a video editor? Well, I guess I'm good enough for what I need to do. I can edit some of my short film projects, I feel quite comfortable doing that. I can obviously edit my video tutorials together. That's, at this point in time, really all I need. I feel I know some of the basic concepts for video editing. I'm not a professional, as I said, I'm just doing this on the side, next to my full-time job, but for what I need, I figured I know enough. Flanky Production asks, will you be uploading more videos in the Blender tutorial series for beginners? I really love those, so please answer me. Keep up the content though. Short answer, yes. Long answer, also yes. They're coming fairly soon-ish. I'm just trying to plot them out because obviously I've started an actual series. There's 3 videos in the series so far, but I kind of want to structure them logically so it kind of makes sense start to end. So I'm just plotting them out at the moment, but there will be more Blender tutorials and hopefully they'll be coming soon. Mirza Ma'in said, when will you buy a Filmmaker Level 1 shirt? As you can see, I'm still a Filmmaker Level 0 and I'm not sure when I'll consider myself good enough to be upgraded to Level 1. I'll probably be sitting on Level 0 for a little while. Vinay Cubes wants to know, which editing app will you use for your biggest project? For me, all of my editing is done in Adobe Premiere Pro. It's kind of what I grew up with, it's kind of what I'm most familiar with. So anything that's really complex really just all goes into Premiere Pro. Amr Alcalas asks, what kind of projects should I do as a beginner? Quite frankly, it does depend on A, what you enjoy, but also on your tenacity. There's nothing wrong with just sitting down saying, hey, I'm gonna do this project, be that a big film project or a visual effect, and just see how far you can get into it. You can always make changes and tweaks along the way. You can simplify things if they're too complicated. You can drop off some scenes if you can't get them shot the way you want them to. But just start experimenting. Just start something really simple. If you literally just picked up a camera, just go out, pick a nice day, doing sunset or sunrise, just start shooting some footage, start editing it together, add some music and just see what you can create. If you're just getting into visual effects, open up After Effects or HitFilm or whatever other tool you may be using, just start creating a simple visual effect. Just sit down and say, hey, I'm going to do the cloning effect today, or hey, I'm going to create a little explosion or some sparks or maybe a little transformation or just some color changes. Just start practicing and experimenting and everything else will come from there. If you're following online tutorials, make sure you pick the ones that are right for your level. I have quite a few people attempting my advanced tutorials when they're really just at the beginner level. They're just starting to use After Effects and they just get stuck and frustrated. So you do want to make sure that you pick one that is kind of marked for your level, or that kind of matches your skill and comfort zone, just so that you feel rewarded by getting something out of it in the end and you learn something along the way. Avis Mohammed Deshwali wants to know GH5 or Sony Alpha 6300 for beginners filmmaking. Now, I do get a lot of questions around comparing different camera models, different laptops, graphics cards or microphones, and unfortunately I can't really answer those simply because I haven't used them. I have never used the GH5, I don't have an Alpha 6300. I've got an Alpha 6500, which I really like, and I've got a review on my channel for that. But a lot of gear related questions I can't really answer because I don't have personal experience using those devices and I can't really make a valid judgment. Now, if you're just getting started with filmmaking, any camera will do. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. Use your phone if you have to. You want to avoid spending a huge amount of money, spending a month on the hobby and then losing interest. Like, just use your phone, start filming something. Most phones have really good video quality. Maybe just get a tripod so you can stabilize it at least, or get a like a cheap compact camera. Canon G7X, the first one, you can get pretty cheap now because I think they're almost up to Mark III now. So just buy something cheap to try it out. Borrow a camera from a friend. Don't invest too much money if you're just getting started. Figure out whether you really love the hobby first, and then if you decide that yes, this is for me, I want to pursue this more, then start investing some money. Neil is Alive wants to know, have you worked on any professional studio films before that we could watch? I'd love to see your work in action outside the context of a tutorial. Now, I haven't actually worked on any professional films, I haven't worked for any film studios per se. I've done a whole bunch of short film projects and you can find them on my YouTube channel and on my website. They're not tutorials, they're really just for entertainment, some silly ideas that I've tried out. So go check them out if you want to, but that's really the only place where you can see my non-tutorial work. And for the last question, the Exploding Bacon wants to know, career-wise, what is your end goal? Career-wise, I think everyone is trying to get to a place where they can do what they love, the way they want to, when they want to, and live off that. So they're literally living and breathing their dream. One of the things that I really enjoy is making these tutorials, filmmaking, visual effects, helping people, sharing my knowledge, connecting with people. I'm really enjoying the process of creating myself, but then also seeing other people create and, benefit from some of the nonsense that I put out and call it tutorials. Obviously, I'm trying to turn this a bit into a business as well, so I'm trying to figure out where, the financial side can fit in without obstructing just the helping of people. But obviously, you can't help people for free and essentially live off that. So I'm trying to balance all of those things out, turn it into a business, something that can then grow, take on momentum and become something bigger than myself, and that, then I can then ride to the end. Obviously, that journey also includes all of you guys, and hopefully you're finding these Q&As useful for getting a bit of an insight into what is going on, get a chance to ask me some questions and get some information out of me. Leave me some comments down below whether you enjoyed it, leave me other questions that you want answered, and I'll make another video fairly soonish. I'll try to balance it with all of the tutorials and other stuff I want to do, of course. But that's it for this Q&A. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you do have any comments, questions or suggestions, you know it, just leave them down in the section below. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.